Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. So yesterday I made a video on the JP news about Karma. Here I'll give my impressions and share some impressions I gathered from JP players on Twitter and YouTube. First, let's do the skills analysis, and after that we can get to me grousing about it. Let's look at the available buffs and think about what would be good where. So here, this is slot 1. This is open from the start. It's just stats, but none of these are going to have a tremendous effect. Either of the agility buffs would be great for costumes we use in Arena. Not even level 100 or Awakenings 1, 2, or 4 will get us more agility. Critical rate, I think, at 5% is not needed. It's better just to work on the memoirs or use like the Dark Memory, fire short swords. What's interesting here is that all of the available stats are damage focused, like there's no HP and no defense buffs. These slot 1 buffs are the same for Fio and 063Y, but we don't know if this will be the same across all costumes. Hopefully, like Anniversary F66X, will have HP and defense stat options. Next is slot 2. These are pretty crazy, pretty strong. And here we see some difference between Fio and 063Y. Fio has more damage options, while 063Y has a support option. But I say this in every mobile game I cover, it's better to build on what you already have rather than spread your buffs and mitigations around. So costumes with innate bold vigor will benefit most from more bold vigor. Jumping a character from 20% extra damage to 40% extra damage is going to be major, and then going from 40 to 60 is going to be insane. Same goes for Pursuit. Like Bloodless Demus and Anniversary Yuzuki should go for more Pursuit because they already have it. I don't have the math on me, but when you add like 10% to a damage multiplier, you're not getting 10% more damage, you're getting more than that. So yeah, building off what you already have is the best way to go. The extra time on buffs of 063Y is great. The reason why Christmas Akeha has always been so good is that her buffs lasted so long you could double up on them. But yeah, Bold Vigor and Pursuit, good for Arena and Subjugations. Caged Vigor, good for PvE, Faster Weapon Skill Charge, good for Arena, and Character Skill Fill, good for Subjugations. Slot 3, as I said, is more niche, and it may not be worth the effort to unlock. It depends on how many days of fucking once per day quests we need to do. Like if we could unlock slot 2 on 7 costumes for the time it would take to unlock 3 on 1 costume, then yeah. Here, I think most people are thinking the element damage resist, very useful at 8%. But again, if you can build on what costumes already have, like New Year's Yuri with her training, that's attractive. The poison resistance makes me laugh because it reminds me of the Kinky Dungeon in Monster Strike. You pretty much needed poison resistance ableberries to beat the first stage, and that was a major shock to all players. I wonder if they would ever do something similar in Nier Reincarnation. Okay, that's it for the analysis of the available stats. So much of this will come down to like how many days it will take to unlock slots, how expensive it will be to reset, how slow will the rollout be for old costumes, and we don't know any of that. We'll do more videos in the future as we get more information. Alright, here, let's get into my impressions and JP user impressions, and if you want to look at everything through rose-tinted glasses, click away now, you're not going to like what I have to say. If you're still here, you're ready for some real talk. Alright, my impressions of Karma are mixed, of course. On the positive side, I much prefer this type of ability or skill upgrade over just raw stat inflation. I've said it before, but I like Awakenings, I like costume buffs, I don't like slabs, I don't like fragments, I don't like level 100. Part of why I like Awakenings and costume buffs is they are different by costume, and Karma goes a step further by giving a user a choice of what new skill to get. It's a very small pool of choices, but it's bigger than anything we've had before outside of memoirs. You could argue that debris items offer a better range of choice, but most players are not going to have a big selection of 4 stars, especially. I recently talked about what I enjoyed most about YouTubing, and it was the creative process. I have a creative urge, and that comes out in how I play video games too. There are meta males out there who slavishly follow tier lists, and that's cool by me. That's a legit playstyle. but I don't like when they peer pressure other players to play like them, since they may not share their personal playstyle, and I am one of them. If you know anything about me as a gamer, I like funky, underrated stuff, and I get great satisfaction from beating tough content in an unexpected way. I can trace it back to River City Ransom and beating the game with a throw build, just hucking lead pipes everywhere. It was thrilling because it was very easy to kill myself by accident. In Nier Reincarnation, I act out this desire by using stuff like Abstract 063Y's Poison character skill, or using the handout Recollections of Dusk, Gale, and Lavania in top-level arena PvP. And so with Karma, the ability to customize costumes speaks to me as a player, and it was why my heart was so broken when they said Slabs was about customization, and then it turned out it wasn't. However, because there are so few choices in Karma, and because there are some choices that are such obviously better than others, it will probably lead to most people making the same choices, but we'll see. I already have some funky ideas brewing. But yeah, this is why I hate being free-to-play, because whales have more options, more developed accounts, and so have more opportunity to use funky, underrated stuff. I've done fairly well in Nier Reincarnation as a free-to-play, but I know I could do more, and it's frustrating. Before we get to what I don't like about the system, let's ask, is this going to lead to player-side power creep? Oh yes. In terms of PvE, I say bring it on. I'm a big fan of waiting to do content until it is power crept by added systems like this. And no shame in that. I talked about pay for speed versus pay to win. This is a case where if free-to-play users wait long enough, they can achieve what whales did weeks or months earlier. Let's make fate boards more doable for people. Let's get more people SSS1 or plus scores in subjugations. Let's get more level 90 or level 100 Blackhorn weapons into people's hands. Let's get more people going through Recollections of Dusk. As for PvP, I am concerned. I wonder if the changes will be strong enough that team variety is going to go down, and the top level folks will all be using just the newest releases. I don't think just the addition of this system will directly lead to that, but overall there is a change in how the developers are designing new releases to make that more the case anyway, and Karma will help with that. It's been kind of sad to watch the game. For the first year and a half, Nier Reincarnation really struck me as something different in the mobile game industry, but this last year, more and more, changes have been made to the game to make it like every other mobile game. Not to say the story and world or characters aren't top-notch, but yeah. Alright, here let's get into what I don't like, and I can also introduce JP users' feelings. That makes it sound like all of JP users' feelings are negative. But looking at social media, nobody is like, yay, this is awesome, I'm so excited. It's either neutral observations, like people saying, oh, these are strong skills, or it's negative. Knowing JP folks, they will do it, they'll do it hard, but whether they like it or not, that's another matter. I should also say the overall frustration level in the JP community has been rising all year. Just unpopular decisions like major jumps and power creeps of new releases, fewer free gems, adding new grades and rewards to subjugations that most people can't get, and I'm not even talking about the upcoming change, I'm talking about the one back in February. But with the JP community in a grumpy mood, it hurts sales, as we are seeing, and any new changes or additions are met with suspicion and exasperation. I hear a lot of again and more, that kind of thing. The first thing that I and lots of JP users don't like about this Karma system is that it's an obvious ploy to get people to spend and pull for the new stuff. Yes, this is a tale as old as mobile games themselves, but we have to consider the unique context of Nier Reincarnation. The implementation of Awakenings was fun for a lot of people because all costumes got it at once, and costumes we hadn't used in a while suddenly had new life, and it was like we got a bunch of new toys. That, and giving stones for everything we had pulled up to then, was a really generous move by the developers. Karma will be focused on new releases, with, I assume, a slow rollout for older characters. This puts direct pressure on players to spend. We will still be able to use our favorite old, unkarma'd costumes, of course, but it will be frustrating to a level similar to using unawakened costumes, which I know all too well. I hate being free-to-play. When sales are slumping, doubling down on milking the whales is not a good look. Second is the way the system seems to be implemented. It doesn't look fun to do at all, and it is artificially limited like the Awakening Stone exchange things. I was looking at the various comparisons people were making to other games, and the one that struck a chord with me was Ableberries from Monster Strike, surprise surprise. Similar idea, get a random buff of a random rarity and decide to keep it or scrap it. The difference is that with Ableberries, there are fun quests attached. For some people, their endgame content was farming those quests. They would play them for hours and hours, finding the most efficient routes and turn orders and units to use. And the cost of attaching those Ableberries was the stamina needed to run the quest. That was it. In Nier Reincarnation, unlocking karma slots is going to be limited to 1 run a day, and then getting buffs will just be time spent in menus hitting the reset button, spending, I'm assuming, obscene amount of materials. That sounds slow and boring to me. I feel like there was a missed opportunity game design-wise, like why not attach this to another game mode like Fate boards? If you unlock level 100 for a character, you also unlock a karma slot, for all their costumes, or the ones that have karma enabled. Yes, that would make it less accessible, but the upgrade is kind of for top level players anyway, so I think people would be okay with it. Instead, we have another system just inelegantly floating out there, adding more complexity to the game. Anyway, I'll work with it and do videos on it, but my priority will be funky, underrated costumes, so I think Zero is going to be first. If I were smart, I would go for A2, but maybe I'll do her later. What I want to know is the rollout schedule and when especially handout costumes like Dark Memory or Recollections of Dusk will get it, if ever. Okay, those are my initial impressions of the new system. Let's see what they say in the live stream in a couple days. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.